Mastek starting is very interesting, with some interesting twists along the way. It started in a class, section A of IIM Ahmedabad, where Ketan and me were in that section. The entrepreneurial bug had bitten both of us. So when we started talking, we felt we could do something after we pass out from IIM in '79.
And then we invited two other friends from our batch, Sundar and Vasan.
So we had a very limited access to capital. We said whatever we do, we need to do something that requires very little capital.
And then we looked at many other options. Market research agency we decided look at. We even thought of starting voltage stabilizers. Then someone came and said, look, why don't you start personal computers?
And we all sort of said, now let's go for it. Sudhakar was our initial client, and he then joined in.
They were doing work for me when I was working in an advertising agency called Reader Fusion, and that's how I got very excited with the journey they were on and wanted to be part of that journey.
But then we said, look, this Ghatkopar address is not very good idea, you know, some fellows in Ghatkopar, because we didn't have phone. So we went to a business center in Nariman Point. It was 35 square feet office, but there was a phone there. And there were only two tables we could put, and one table was taken by our secretary, and four of us used to sit on the remaining one table round the clock. So that is a beginning story.
Finally, when we incorporated Mastek, it was incorporated as a private limited company, and we started in '82.
We had just 15,000 rupees with us. That was the total capital. So we couldn't afford to do anything flashy.
The first investment we made as a company really was in a blackboard, which was actually a roll-on blackboard.
So I remember first going to Germany, and I still remember that day when Sudhakar, Sundar, Ketan came to my home. Then they dropped me at the airport, you know, say bye-bye, tata. You know, it was a great event in Mastek.
We just felt a sense of excitement that it was a lot of fun. We didn't have any prior business experience. We actually had very little work experience. So we are willing to go full out at whatever we wanted to do.
Our first project almost was an engagement with Richardson Hindustan at that time.
So it was a very complex problem. And they said, okay, you guys look bright, smart. So solve this problem. We have tried, it has not worked.
So they had a very tight timeline. So he gave us a challenge and said, if you do before my planning cycle works, then I will give you a big bonus. If you delayed, there will be penalty. And we took it up, and we did it almost 30 days ahead of time and won some bonus. So that was a good start.
So we bought our first property, a huge 135 square feet office where we could sit, all four of us could sit, have our own table. And mind you, first time we bought a computer.
So we were a good team, and we started from just doing engagements successfully to slowly maturing to how to run it as a business.
I remember people asking us, oh, Mastek has arrived with some software products. So we were the first company to build products. We felt good that, oh, we have arrived on a national scene now.
We saw the organization building up, we started winning clients, we started hiring more people, and we said, oh, this is coming together.
We got the distributorship for Ingress, which was a relational database that we represented in India. And we did an excellent job with that, and that was our first, I would say, growth engine for the company.
I can remember one of the projects where we went together, and in fact I was introduced to, I think it was Citibank. I was taken as a banking specialist, which I was not, and I was introduced over there, and then we had a chat, and then we came back and I asked Sundar, now what do I do now? He said, don't worry, now that you have understood the requirements, just go ahead and do that. The only thing that came to my mind is that before Sundar comes back for review, I should finish the project.
We were fighting big names of the industry. whether be it hardware people or the software people.
And we had a established product in ERP space, and that was one of the leading product in Indian market.
The London congestion charging project was a really big project, and it was something that changed the lives of all the people that it touched.
Another milestone being the NHS project.
The next big thing that Mastek had was another big engagement for British Telecom in the UK.
We established ourselves as a prime-time insurance player in India and Asia Pacific.
And the time I joined Mastek, as I said, when I started relations with Mastek, Mastek was 20-25 people company. By the time I came in, it was 250 people company, and by the time I think probably I left, it was 4,000 people company. So it kept on growing.
I have seen the growth, as I said, from 1 crore to 700 crore. The growth path which we have seen and we have taken was through the building blocks. And in fact, those learnings are the ones which I even today use in my practice. So to that extent, I owe it to Mastek. So therefore, definitely, I would always look forward. If they want me for anything, I will be there.
We used to have fun one time. We used to travel in second class train those days, and many of guys, including Sudhakar, used to play flush. Once I think we played whole night flush, and so much got engrossed in this playing and having fun, I forgot my wife and daughter were there, and daughter was very young and she may need milk. It was so humble on part of Ashank to get down on a particular station, fetch milk and give it to my wife. And my wife remembered till her last days, humble on part of Mastek chairman to take care.
I was at SEEPS. I was in my library going through my study material, and suddenly I find Ashank turns up and inquires as to how things are going on. When the founder basically comes and checks with you as to how are you doing, or if everything is okay, that kind of sends a message that you care about the people that work here.
I remember one day we were actually working on something which is very critical, and suddenly one of our senior manager, he just came down. He was on his way to home. He quietly left the office, and another 15-20 minutes he came back. And he came back with lots of stuff for us to have. And that something has created a bonding with an organization, and probably that also relates to the values that Mastek actually has.
Some celebration was happening and Sudhakar was on the floor and he was talking to a software engineer or other trainee, asking about how these applications goes, what is your contribution, and the software engineer was so excited that he's showing something to the founder member. So that gives a great feeling, and that's why I feel that Mastek is really a great place to work.
Mastek's example can be a shining example for other corporates. All of them are very compassionate about supporting outstanding humanitarian initiatives. They have jumped into it and helped them without any reservation.
And I feel that's what most Mastekeers cherish a lot, that they look at Mastek as a sort of a family environment, and that's why they give their best.
Once a Mastekeer, you'll always be a Mastekeer.
I would like to say that we make magic here, and therefore we are Mastekeers.
I still continue to work for Mastek even after 12 years. There is some sort of bonding that helps me to stay back, which doesn't let me go.
So when somebody tells me you've been here for 6 years, I think, has it been that long? And somewhere I think, is that really healthy for my career? But at the end of the day, I'm really happy where I am. I'm getting a chance to do what I want, and I think Mastek is where I should be.
I'm definitely proud to be a Mastekeer.
Some people say first love has a lot of memory. For me, it's other way. Last innings at Mastek was the greatest memory.
In fact, we have many Mastek unions outside Mastek. So it is very difficult to separate it and say, oh, it's not there now anymore. It's very difficult to say that.
So as we are celebrating 30 years of Mastek, it's a very special occasion, a moment to be proud of for all of us.
So it's definitely a journey worth making. I'm pretty happy with the way things have turned out, and that's the kind of institution that we'd like to create, which can nurture and which can actually grow talent and keep continuing to contribute to the world, to its customers, to its stakeholders over a sustained period of time.
And I look forward to the next 30 or 40 years to be a phenomenal area of growth for Mastek, leading this charge, being at the forefront of these new modern systems.
So, Mastek is on its journey to become a globally admired corporation, institution, which is driven by the vision of building solutions to make a difference to our customers. Join us, be partner in that journey so that we can together create a much better world.
There are people that I enjoy working with, high integrity, high trustworthiness, high competence, that really truly will exceed a customer's expectations.
Mastek brings to the table innovation, openness, trust, and above all flexibility and a way of doing business that suits us.
And we were so impressed by their dedication, and we felt that they were a part of our company.
They've always been willing, to put in that extra effort.
One of the strong benefits of having Mastek with us is the partnership. And like any partnership, once you get through 7 years, I guess you know it's the real thing.
Mastek never let you down. And that's an incredibly important feeling for somebody in my position. We know there are going to be problems. We know that there will be issues. But whenever I'm asked why Mastek, I say because they never let you down.